freedom land. Ain't gonna let discrimination turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Gonna let discrimination turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom.
And good evening. Welcome to Sizzling in Mississippi. Coming live to you from downtown Jackson, where it's 77 degrees. Humid as all get out. Heading for 56, I think it said tonight. We have so much going on here in these We Believe Digital Studios. We have a 1-800-492-5186 number. Should you like to call in on the show, we'd be happy to hear your calls. We also have, you could join us in the chat. Hopefully you like what you see, you like the program, you hit that notifications button, you share with your friends, and who knows, maybe if you could spare a little bit, to defer the, not for us as hosts, but to defer the cost of the studio hours and all. So welcome. We're glad you're joining us. My name is Chris Young, and as always, my co-host is Maati Jone Primm. How are you this evening, Maati?
I'm doing well. How are you, Chris?
Very good, very good. I'm just rolling with it. We got a little AC problem here in the studio tonight.
Yes.
So I got a sneaking suspicion I'm going to be spending half the night defogging my glasses.
Okay.
Because, I didn't go to Cartier's or Sotheby's or,
Yes.
Gucci,
Yeah.
for my glass. I went to Walmart.
Oh, okay.
And so they're prone to fogging up.
Little fog. Here and
So we're going to have to deal with that.
Okay.
But we got
We'll
some
make it.
stories. We'll make it. And we got some topics to talk about tonight. Hopefully, and I'm trying to make a point of including the topics in the promos
All right.
sent out. One of them was maybe 45 minutes before the show. The other one was 30 minutes before the show tonight. And hopefully we'll continue to grow in our audience, our followers and all. We think we got something here.
Yes.
And it's really you that brought to my attention that this is unique. I mean, this is, where do you see a man and woman sitting down, and in our case, a black woman and a white man sitting down to talk about how things are still sizzling in Mississippi?
Right.
Or for, the closest thing might be some kind of sports show or something like that, where all the material is generated for those two, but in our case, we do the work, we do the research,
Right.
and we're able to talk about things.
Right. It's important.
And grow and learn.
Right.
So, yeah. So,
We're both open to that. Makes a difference.
it makes a world of difference.
Mhm.
Makes a world of difference. And any preference where we start out tonight?
Wherever you think. We'll start with whatever you'd like.
Well, the first one I put on the list was Taylorsville. And we told the audience last week extensively, you had brought in an enormous amount of material on Rasheem Carter. This was a 25-year-old man, father of a 7-year-old daughter, brutally is not strong enough, murdered in Taylorsville, Mississippi. Really, as I found out in person over the weekend, 63 miles from where I live in downtown Jackson. And back in October, the man called his mother and say, I got a disagreement with a coworker, supervisor's not resolving it, and I got 3 trucks of white men, 6 white men chasing me, calling me out of my name at stoplights, calling his mother saying, what do I do? Mother says, go to the police station, go to the nearest police station. He listens to his mother. He goes to the police station. Police, so we don't see nobody following you. We followed you in here. And and then he asked him for a lift to his hotel.
Right.
Because as you told us last week, he lives in Fayette.
Right.
But here he was 105 miles away in Taylorsville, working a contract for the Georgia Pacific Company as a welder, trying to make money to open back up his seafood restaurant in Fayette,
Right.
named after his daughter, Callie,
Yeah.
C-A-L-I.
Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't help him out. They said, no, we ain't no taxi service. And they told him he couldn't hang around there. He left, came back the next day, still fearing for his life. And talking to his mother again, his mother said, I'm sending a friend to pick you up.
Right.
By the time the friend got to the police station, he was gone. Never seen again.
Never seen alive.
Until the decomposed, decapitated, dismembered body was found in a field, just a tad more than 1 mile out of the downtown of Taylorsville. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to share with folks that took a drive out there over the weekend on Saturday. Had this big parade in Jackson, this St. Mal's, St. Patty's parade. Ungodly thousands of people descending on downtown Jackson for this parade, everybody all excited. And I thought, wow, that's really not my thing. I got some Irish in me, but, so I thought, what a beautiful day to drive to Taylorsville.
Yes, yes.
And, I talked to 11 people, Maati, out there. And I'll tell you some of the things I heard. What I heard is that, and all the people I spoke to were African American.
All right.
And what I heard was fear. And they said it right out loud.
Okay.
But there were conditions involved. Every single person that I spoke with said, do not identify me. We'll talk, but you cannot identify me. You can't say my name. They never gave me names. One time I said, I'm just going to turn on my recorder so I don't miss that. No recorder, no photographs. But I can assure you, I spoke to these people, and what really dominated in my mind was the fear. This vicious murder, white man chasing this black man. Don't know what was behind all that, and asking his mother for help, and trying to do the right thing, the first family that I approached, I'll just say just off the main drag, which is Mayfield Street over there. Okay. We're always afraid things like this happen around here, and from the mother, as the grandmother nodded in agreement. The grandmother didn't say one word to me, but she was over off to the side and sitting on a folding chair beside the landing at the front door, clapboard, home. The grandmother nodded in agreement when the mother said, quote, I would never tell my children to go to the police around here. And there's some other things they said. And by the way, all this is going to be available in a article in the Mississippi Link newspaper that'll be on newsstands around midday on Thursday. It'll be out online at themississippi.com probably by 9:30, 10 o'clock on Wednesday night. And then after they got a little uncomfortable after a while. And I said, okay. I said, look, I'm not trying to jam anybody up. Thank you so much for your time, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And so off I went. And then I hear, hey, mister. And I turn around, and the lady said, if you go up that street right there, you poke around a little bit, you'll find a housing project. They'll talk to you. So I thought, oh, gratuitous. You know, we're only going to talk to you so much, but those people at the projects will talk to you. So that's what I did. Took off for the projects and encountered two mothers, a grandmother, a sixth grader boy, and a ninth grader girl. Agreed to speak, but again, please don't identify. Please don't identify us. They said the law had been up there asking questions about drugs. They said, we never seen Rasheem Carter here. From what we've heard, Rasheem Carter don't live here. How is he going to know anything about these projects? Mm-hmm. Which begs the question of, are they trying to alter the narrative? Okay, and
yeah.
You know the answer.
Right, yeah. Because remember they said initially that he was high, he was intoxicated and hallucinating.
Right.
And therefore he caused his own death.
Yeah, that's why he's calling his mother for help.
Right, and going to the police station twice.
Listening to what his mom's saying.
Right.
You know,
following her directions.
And this one other mother said, it tells you he was good because he was calling his mother and listening to her, unquote.
Yes.
They had heard reports of Carter denied assistance by the police. They called that shameful. Quote, a young man comes to you for help with his mother on the phone, tells you he's afraid for his life, and you do nothing. You can't even give him a lift or let him stay there. That's just so wrong, unquote. I asked about racism. I asked about the feeling of racism. The responses included, quote, people want to act like it stopped. It never stopped. It was like this when I was going to school. It was like this when my mama was going to school. It ain't never stopped. People don't want to talk about this situation because they are scared. Just because you're not walking around with sheets on no more, you still got to watch your back. Just because they're not walking around with sheets on no more, you still got to watch your back. Goes on and on to another I guess this would have been the first mom, people talking about animals got him. That's one of the narratives,
right,
that the animals got him. And she said, do they really think an animal put the man's penis in his mouth? And where's these 6 white men that was chasing him? What happened to them?
Right.
They want to know this.
Right.
When asked if they consider this to be, I asked him flat out, do you consider this to be a sundown town? One immediately said yes. The other 2, one of the mothers and the grandmother, said that they do go out at night sometimes, but they keep their eyes wide open and always watching behind them, unquote. Stopped at one more place, talked to a lady at a thrift store. Mm-hmm. I can't say nothing more about that, but except she says, quote, it just hurts my whole heart knowing this is still going on. This needs to be told everywhere so people know. How can people do something like that to another human being? This needs to come to an end. They have to stop doing this to us, unquote. So there's a pervasive environment of fear. There's a keen sense that, maybe some of the aesthetics have changed over time, mm-hmm. but when they want to take somebody out, when they want to take a black person out, they take a black person out.
Right, yeah. This is a lynching.
And this is a lynching, and I call it that in the article. I call it a lynching of hatred. Yeah. I call it murder, a lynching of hatred.
Yes.
And you know, I also think it's highly suspicious that exactly 30 days goes by before these body parts are found.
Right.
You know, I just how exactly did that go on?
Right.
You know, and so that's what I want to share with the viewer. Following up on your report last week about Rasheem Carter, you know, Benjamin Crump is on the case now. He's asked the Department of Justice to open a civil rights hate crime investigation. You know, he ain't going to let this go. And that's what we intend to do here, to not let this go. And and the Mississippi Link will not let this go either. So people need to be held account for this hellish behavior. Yeah.
It's beyond reason. It's beyond anything. To think that someone can go somewhere in America, as they say, right? The land of the free and the home of the brave.
That's right.
And to go to a place to work. A young black man
Right.
who is not the stereotype that they try to say about him.
He's obviously a skilled worker if he's being signed on
Right.
from 100 miles away.
Yeah, he's a trained welder.
Yeah.
He's a restaurateur. He's an entrepreneur. He's a father. He's a son.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't go any place in America safely to work. It's not available to him. This is not the land of the free for black people.
Not for everybody. Right. Right.
This is a horror. This is a horror. We can't go I can't go every place in America.
Land of the free, asterisk.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's free? Who's free? You know? And does it take bravery to gang up on one person? Right?
You're a real badass.
Right. And yet the police department protecting every savage,
question.
depraved act.
No,
And of
no
course,
question.
his body is found on the land of the relative of the sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out.
Yeah. So what are we talking about here? You know, and that's why when I saw Tate Reeves on television talking about how he was going to take care of the people in Rolling Fork and Midnight and Silver City, I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, is this another TANF? What is this? I cannot believe that they would be so concerned with the people of Rolling Fork who look just like Rasheem Carter.
That's right. That's right.
That all of a sudden we're going to care about them when we don't give two kicks about Rasheem Carter. We hunt him down like he is a rabbit.
Yeah, he was hunted.
He was hunted.
Absolutely hunted.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Lewis, he never misses an episode. He's asking, why didn't he leave after the altercation, or I'm assuming he thinking too, when the police blew him off the first time, why in the world did he go back a second time?
He's 25, and he believed the hype of America. That's why.
Listening to his mother.
Listening to his mother, but listening to what America says it is. Right?
Right.
Listening to the lies that Americans tell to other people.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's, if you have a problem, you go to the police. I remember hearing that growing up and, having a police officer come to my grade school and say, I'm a good guy,
Yeah.
and if you need something, come to me.
Right.
Yeah. At the same time, they're sicking dogs on black children in Birmingham, Alabama, and then they're arresting children in Jackson, Mississippi, and putting them in the fairgrounds, and they're having to eat off of troughs and 55-gallon drums.
Right.
Right? And they're put in pig pens and hog pens and
That's
the
the report.
horse stables.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I don't go to the state fair. In fact, I call it the state unfair.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are here in America, you are raised, regardless of race, to believe that it actually means something. What they say it stands for, you're actually believing it until you find out differently. And unfortunately, for dear Rasheem Carter, he found out too late.
And they say they're gonna turn around and say Blue Lives Matter too. Just hideous.
Yeah.
Hideous.
Right.
How could a grown, this is a male,
Yeah.
how can a grown man or a grown woman, when you got a badge on, when you sworn to protect and serve, and you got a 25-year-old That's an anomaly.
Right.
In 2023, 2022, that's an anomaly. To come, a 25-year-old, to come, maybe a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old, but
Yeah.
a 25-year-old to come running into the police station telling you people are chasing me, I'm afraid for my life,
Right.
and you got nothing for that person.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
No. But they're complicit. They're not. It's not only that they didn't help him, but they were complicit in his lynching
Right.
because they refused to do their job.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Maati, it just never ends, and I'm gonna send you an advance copy of the article so you can see every last bits of it. But I mean, that's what we wanted to share. It's just a sad commentary, for some kind of advances, whether they're aesthetic advances or not. This happens, and black people have to live in fear. And when black people want to look at me, who they've never seen before in their life, and I just show them a little badge that says that I work for the Mississippi Link newspaper, got my picture on it, and I say I'm not here to jam anybody up. We just want you to be heard.
Right.
We want to tell this man's story so that we don't forget him. And you got grown adults. The children, by the way, they never said a word, but I want to tell you they didn't miss a word. Oh, they were sitting right on the knees of the,
Yes.
a ninth and a sixth grader,
Yeah.
sitting right on the knees, of the grown-ups.
Yeah.
They didn't miss one word of what was said.
Right.
But to know, now these are people, these are human beings, these are American citizens admitting to me from the middle of a housing project, from a clapboard house, from a thrift shop, admitting to me that they're afraid every day.
Yeah.
They have a degree of fear
Right.
that has to attend their life every day
Right.
because of the way other people look at them.
But it's not just Taylorsville.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. I've seen it. I've tried to interview elders in Jackson, and as soon as I took out a tape recorder, they shut down.
Right.
And I wasn't interviewing them about any crime.
Yeah.
I was just talking about their life,
Their history and all.
their history. Yeah. What's your bio?
Yeah, it's so
they shut
sad.
down.
Well, Maati, we hit the buzzer. We went through this whole segment. So we're just going to stop for a moment and give you a commercial or two, and then we'll be right back with you.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
And welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just trying to keep it real about the real, very real things that are happening here in Mississippi. Yes, there's other things that go on all over the place, but this is where we're planted in Mississippi. This is where we choose to live, and this is part of what we do, is to try to shine the brightest light we can on the evil deeds that are going on here. The chronic racism and oppression, and we had a horrific event on Friday night up in the Delta.
Yeah.
So did you want to go to that?
Sure. Let's talk about that. Rolling Fork, Silver City, and Midnight.
Yeah.
3 towns in the Delta of Mississippi that are destroyed. They're leveled.
Probably all combined less than 3,000 people,
Right.
residents.
Right.
And
Half of which live below the poverty level.
that's right. That's a huge, and I saw median household income, the highest. Well, there's none listed for Midnight because it's a non-incorporated. It's not. It's mentioned in the census, but they don't go too deep.
Okay.
But Rolling Fork is a 74% black community with a median household, not individual, but household income of $23,000. Silver City, less than 500 residents, 78% black, 22,000 median household income.
Wow.
How do you? And then Midnight, less than 200 residents. How do you? How do you live on that kind of? How does a household live
Right.
on $22,000?
Right. And you have to pay rent, you have to pay lights, you have to eat. How do you do that?
Yeah.
A family of at least probably 4.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I drove through back in the fall. I drove through Midnight. I just saw the sign and I got to go there.
Right.
Midnight.
Sounds interesting.
I did some reading up later on. Apparently the name of the town came from behind a card game that had happened, some kind of poker game late at night or in the midnight hour.
Oh,
and
okay.
it was quite a game, quite a poker game, and apparently that's how they got their name.
Wow. Okay.
But you have this wedge tornado, and they say, I won't say the right words because I'm not the weatherman, but something about the nighttime with a wedge tornado makes it more and more lethal.
Yes, it does.
So this was an EF4 that touched down a swath of about 100 miles. And really, we can be talking about a whole lot more than these towns, because really, these towns all put together don't come up to 10 square miles when you put all three of them together.
Wow.
So there's a whole lot more area that's effective.
Yes.
But hopefully maybe an uninhabited area or
Hopefully.
fields or what have you. But they say the EF4, that's equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane.
Yes, yeah. And the only thing higher than an EF4 is an EF5.
Yeah.
That's it. That's as far as the scale goes.
So the feds are in town.
Yeah.
President
Red Cross.
Biden immediately signed the emergency request declaration.
Right.
On Sunday, I believe it was. The governor was up there, or Saturday, one or the other. The governor was up there. Biden instructed the FEMA lady, whose name I can't think of right now, but she's been around these parts
Yeah.
with the water crisis and all that.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
But Criswell, Deanna Criswell. And she said that Biden told her that's what our community is all about, to support their community. Be sure to tell them that. And then he sent Mayorkas down here.
Mm-hmm.
Benny Thompson was here. The two senators, Hyde Smith,
Cindy Hyde Smith.
probably your favorite among the two, and then Wicker.
Yeah.
It's a little joke I was trying to tuck in, and yeah. So those folks, Lieutenant Governor, the governor, and they're gonna.
Yeah.
Now, of course, reality now, they've been neglecting the Delta for how long?
Forever, since there's been a Delta.
Forever.
Yeah.
And you got hospitals out there that have closed their doors. You have specialty clinics that no longer exist.
Right.
You have many, many conditions where people have to travel to Jackson.
Yes.
Now, the closest part of the Delta is 45 miles from Jackson, the very tip of,
Like Yazoo
like
City.
Yazoo City.
Sure.
Right. So there's a whole lot more to it than that.
It absolutely is.
But for many people with various conditions, the nearest hospital you're going to have to come to is Jackson.
Right. Or Memphis.
Or Memphis, go the
Right.
other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just so sad for these people. Benny Thompson says the word devastation does not do it
Right,
justice.
right. I mean, these are 3 towns that have been leveled because if you look at the housing stocks,
Yeah,
you're talking about mobile homes.
right.
So there's no protection
Yeah,
in a crisis situation like this when you have these tornadoes and thunderstorms. Anything can take apart a mobile home.
and how do you secure a mobile home to the ground? You know,
Yeah, you can't.
it's tough.
Yeah, it's just not built for this.
Right.
Yeah, and then what we need are like the underground shelters, and there should be a requirement for places like this that where there, let's say it's a mobile home park,
Right.
they should be required to have an underground shelter
Right.
for its
Doesn't
residents.
exist.
Yeah, that's necessary, and so this can happen again and again. What is it tomorrow? Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? There's going to be another storm sometime this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's incredible.
Some of our listeners are expressing concerns about the funding, reaching the people.
That's the problem.
One person talking about everybody's going to have their hand out.
Yeah.
And, meaning not Rolling Fork and
Right.
Silver City and
Yeah,
Midnight, but
right.
other people.
Right. Yeah. These charities that pounce upon opportunities like this. So much of the donations go to administrative cost. And what's the point? I think that what we can do here in Jackson is take up a collection of clothing and canned goods
Right.
and water, and then just drive those donations up there and give it directly to the people.
And Ariel, do we have the we do have a page that we'll put up on the screen here. Oh wow, you did that so nicely, Ariel. Thank you. How to help and where what kind of donations people are looking for, and many of the drop-off locations where you can bring non-perishable goods and so forth. There's a real comprehensive list that was put out by Coyote Crown at the Mississippi Free Press that I saw earlier today and was really impressed with it. Wanted to share that with you. Anybody that's listening, you want to plan a road trip, you want to call your friends and say, hey, let's spend the next couple of days gathering some stuff and let's take a run up there. And then you'll see that list of places where you can bring it and drop it off and it'll be in the right hands. Wouldn't that be a nice Christian loving gesture? So all that information is up there. Thank you so much, Ariel. And, so what else? We know the people. I mean, every news channel under the sun has been broadcasting these pictures.
Yes.
Mobile homes on top of trees, on top of vehicles
Right.
on top of
Right.
things they shouldn't be on top of, and
Right.
just Benny Thompson say there is no longer a police department, there is no longer a fire department, there is no longer a town hall, there is no longer a court building. It's just there is no longer a grocery store.
Right.
In Rolling Fork.
Right.
So it can't get any worse. And we would just remind the viewers that Mississippi is the poorest state of all 50 states, and that our poverty level here in Mississippi is higher per capita than anywhere else in the country. And by some measures, 53% higher than the national average, the poverty level in Mississippi.
Yes.
Don't ask me for that source, but I think we talked about it on one of the shows not too long ago, but I don't have it in front of me right this second. So yeah, just devastating for these folks.
It's an enormous problem. It's not going to be solved overnight. First of all, there was a problem with the Delta to begin with.
That's right.
It was just teetering. And then for the storm to come through, it destroyed everything. And people had barely anything to lose. But that's all gone, and they have to start all over again.
We got so much help. We got so much people coming from out of town and all
Yes.
to help us. We had tractor trailers coming into Jackson packed with bottled water to try and help us and all. So let's just hope those same organizations and 10 times that many
Yeah.
will now do that for the Delta. These are good people. These are hardworking people. These are people that are, generally speaking, to the state of Mississippi, from everything that I can see in being here for 2 years now on the ground, these people are invisible. These people are invisible to the state of Mississippi. These people are invisible to the Mississippi legislature.
Yes.
You know, and we're
Yet vital and necessary
oh,
in order to maintain the status quo. They are absolutely
gross domestic
necessary.
product.
Yeah.
How much of that gross domestic product coming right out of that Delta?
Right.
So-
And how many of these people even make minimum wage?
Yeah,
They don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just so sad. So
Many of them still rely on scrap picking. Are you familiar with that?
go ahead.
After the harvest is done with the machines on the cotton fields, then they have the people come through and pick up what's left of the cotton, because really about 20-25%, maybe even as high as 30% of the cotton is still left on the plants after the machines have gone through.
Wow.
Because the machines can't compete with the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had the people to come through and scrap pick like our ancestors did more than 100 years ago.
I love you sharing that. Mr. Williams, another, never misses a show. He said, I grew up in a mobile home in Tougaloo. Been through our fair share of hurricanes. He said they had metal straps that secured his
Yeah.
from one end to the other, numerous metal straps.
Yeah. But the
But-
problem is, I mean, just an overall construction, of a mobile home. It's almost like you're securing, paper
Right.
by a steel strap. But the problem is the paper itself.
And Miss Jones saying, TANF and COVID funds didn't reach the people.
Right.
Funds haven't replaced the water infrastructure. I'm not holding my breath because the legislator and governor have shown that they are not reliable, trustworthy, willing, or accountable.
That's it.
Amen. Amen. And Mr. Lewis said there is no longer a rolling fork. The Delta, with all that history, should be an African American ground zero, says Mr. Derek Gray. So we're going to slide on in. We got 6 minutes left on this segment. What do you say we flip up these last two? Because this one would be shorter.
Okay.
But I especially wanted to bring up our esteemed, I just said that, our governor.
Yes.
He's the governor of Mississippi.
Yeah. Tate Reeves.
Let's say it that way. The governor of Mississippi.
Tate Reeves.
He nominated a black female Republican from DeSoto County to the Mississippi Board of Education. Our governor, I did it again. The governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves, nominated a black female Republican from DeSoto County to serve on the Mississippi Board of Education. Her name is Kara Powell.
Right.
I've seen photographs, lovely lady, family, got either 3 or 4 children. Saw one big family photo, just, probably a salt of the earth human being. And this nomination was rejected, immediately was tabled by Senator Solly Norwood, by the Senate Education Committee on Sunday. Come to find out, so in all likelihood, it's done. It could come up one more time in the next couple of days, but it's not likely. And it was almost unanimous by voice vote.
Well, you know what? If Mr. Solly Norwood declined, I think it's worth looking into. I think there's some value.
Both.
Yeah.
So come to find out that Ms. Powell is a registered lobbyist for a charter school organization in Tennessee. Because DeSoto,
right there on the border.
Right there on the border.
Yeah, it's a suburb of Memphis.
And we certainly wouldn't begrudge her, to earn a living for her family and all that, right? So But I just wanted to ask.
Divided loyalty. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And we wouldn't want that. We want somebody to put their whole self,
Right.
you know. But interesting, charter school organization.
Once again.
But what do you do? What comes to mind for you? Because I know what comes to mind for me, and I suspect it's the same thing for you.
Okay.
But you being you and me being me, I want to ask you. We don't have any evidence of Tate Reeves abundantly nominating black people,
Yeah.
male or female,
Right.
to boards, commissions, etc.
Right.
But now here we are in an election year, and he's nominating a black female Republican.
Right.
Now either he's been reading the Mississippi Link and found out, oh my gosh, we haven't been nominating black people, and we're getting put on Front Street for that. We better change our ways, or something else was going on.
Well, he probably wants to change the visual.
The visual.
Right. Because
In the election
he's-
year.
Right, because he's not a sure thing this time.
Oh, you got competition this time.
He's got a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Right. So he needs to do something to garner some votes to protect his position.
You know, my thought, Maati, was this woman is disposable to somebody like him.
Sure.
It's not about her. It's not about enriching the Board of Education.
Right.
It's not about balancing membership somehow, or taking somebody who apparently has a good knowledge of the charter school system. Who knows? Maybe they could bring corrective action to what we're doing with all that here. But
Quite doubtful.
Quite doubtful.
Right.
But just the same, you never know.
Right.
But I just feel like my first thought was she's just a pawn to him.
She's a token. But, you got to figure that someone like her has to run in line step with him, even for Tate Reeves to consider a black woman. It's got to be a black woman who runs in line step with Tate Reeves' policies and really doesn't care what black people think.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Democrat.
No.
It would not be a
No,
Democrat.
it's going to be a Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, very, very sad. Overall, we've reported on this show before, 6% of the agencies in Mississippi, Department of this, Department of that, Department of, this, that, and the other thing, 6% of those agencies are headed up by people of color. 94% of those agencies in Mississippi are headed up by white people. 94%.
Right.
And yet the population is 60, less than 60. I want to say 58 and change, or 59% white Mississippi.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because the Delta's black.
Right.
Okay, overwhelmingly.
You don't think
90-some percent.
You don't think the Delta is counted accurately?
No.
No, me neither.
Yeah, and they're trying hard not to. But the Delta is 90-some, probably 95 plus percent black. Then you have Central Mississippi that includes Vicksburg, Jackson, Meridian,
Right.
and so we're talking probably at least 50% there.
Right.
Then you have the southern coastal area. Okay, that's where you would have more white people, but you still have a significant amount of blac people there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's at least 50-50.
I'm thinking that you are making the point over time that you don't have a lot of faith that those census workers are going to dig in deep to the.
Right, no, they're not. Right. They don't want to, and even if they did, by the time they got through with the funneling and the filtering and different people looking at it, it's going to change over time.
Very sad. Very sad. So we've got one more segment. We want to stop now for a commercial or two, and then we look forward to getting right back with you.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.Dot grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, Keepers of the Knowledge for People Who Speak the Truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1.
Called Mal's St. Patty's Parade. Thousands of people decided Jackson, for this parade, but there was a shooting.
Yes.
There was a shooting at approximately 1 o'clock on Saturday. The shooting was not on the parade route. The shooting was on the street that I live on, and Jefferson Street, and it was down, kind of sort of like you say, like across the street from the fairgrounds parking lot.
Okay.
And really adjacent to that parking lot of the Naval Reserve Building and the Agriculture Commissioner's offices over there. Before you get to the two museums, if you're going northbound on Jefferson.
Okay, yeah.
And so we know a lot of people have heard about it by this point, but there's some monkey business going on here that really, two people lost their lives. The suspect, a guy named Jordan Kyle Cummins, is in custody, denied bond about 4 hours ago by Judge Johnny McDaniels on 2 counts of murder. He was beaten on his girlfriend at this location, which is really like 4.5 miles from this studio that we're broadcasting to you from. And he was beaten on his girlfriend, and two bystanders approached and attempted to intervene. He pulled out a gun and he shot both of them to death.
Yes, he did.
A 27-year-old male, Joshua Spann, a very well-respected, I have it on authority from 2 people that know him well, a very well-respected doorman in Jackson, and Auden, Auden, Jubilee Simpkins, a 23-year-old woman that I couldn't, none of my contacts down here had known her.
Okay.
But anyway.
Quite young,
and we certainly express our condolences to the family and friends of these 2 young people. They saw something wrong. They decided to intervene. They lost their lives as a result of the guy that was doing the beating, domestic abusing, whatever, fancy words they want to tie to this. They paid with their lives. And the producer has a picture that I found on the website called illicitdeeds.com. Now here's the strangeness. Here. We have 3 major broadcast networks.
Yes.
We have CBS, we have NBC, we have ABC, and we have Fox. So we have four of the major broadcasters are right here in Jackson. Each one of them has reported out, I don't remember seeing Fox, but definitely LBT, JTV, APT.
But if LBT has it, then Fox.
It's like
because they share
a merging.
Right.
So, but not one of these people have reported, nor the police chief Bo Lucky, almost said Bucky Lowy, but Bo Lucky. That's what he go by the name Bo. They've never bothered to tell anybody. Nobody's bothered to say that these 2 victims are black in our black city. And the shooter was a white man from Pearl or Florence. Rankin County. I did find one address on the internet, but I can't say for certain. I couldn't collaborate it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't say for certain. But if that's the correct address, he was less than 12 miles from home.
Okay.
Across the river into Rankin County, but not too far away.
Sure.
And he got away. So we have this video. This guy got arrested by the Rankin County Police. He got put in custody in Hinds County, and from the jailhouse, he put a video on Facebook. And here's the video. The producer's going to it's a 15-second video, and she's going to play it 2 times in a row. There's no killing going. He's in jail at this point, but what do we have going on here when an inmate gets to send out videos?
Real, man. I know it looks sweet. You know what I'm saying? Shit ain't sweet, man. 2 days.
Yeah, man. 2 days, man. Free that man, man.
You know what I'm saying? Free, baby.
My guy, man.
Man, free me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
you walk up on me, man, I'm gonna bust your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? I shit real, man. I know it looks sweet. You know what I'm saying? Shit ain't sweet, man. 2 days.
Yeah, man. 2 days, man. Free that man, man.
You know what I'm saying? Free, baby.
Welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. I mean, how do you how's that guy 27? It say he's 27 years old, right?
Right.
The same age as one of his victims. How can this white person be standing there saying, "Free me"? I'm defending myself. That's what he's claiming, self-defense. He's beating on his girlfriend in public. People saw that, saying, "You can't do that.
Yeah.
We're going to intervene and stop this. Try to protect her." Which we all know can be dicey.
Right.
They made the decision they made. Obviously, they're not doing it with malice. They're trying to do something good.
Right.
And he turned on them, pulled out a gun, and shot both of them dead.
Yeah. The victims are heroic people.
Heroic people.
Because most people will not intervene if it's a domestic dispute.
Mm-hmm.
But they felt it necessary to do so. I wish they had been in Taylorsville instead of Jackson.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been something?
Yeah. Or if they could have been there too. And now we have 2 people dead. The news media isn't speaking about the victims,
Right.
They we're not going to talk about them. They could have identified them as being 2 black people that were shot and killed by white Jordan Kyle Cummings, but they didn't do that.
They didn't do that. Why did they not do that? Why does the chief Bo Lucky say? Why does he see this guy, the chief of the Capitol Police?
Right.
It seemed like he was boasting, saying 3 different things. Mm-hmm. Number one, on film.
Yes.
They said more after the camera was off.
Okay.
It seemed like to me that he was boasting, saying that we were on the scene within 1 minute. The next minute he says the entire area was saturated with police because of the parade.
Right.
I mean,
and it is anyway, because it's a white neighborhood.
Okay. Well, you got to come take a closer look where I live, because that ain't a white neighborhood.
Okay.
But I do hear you.
Yeah.
It's close to,
it's
Bellhaven.
Yeah. Fairgrounds and unfair grounds.
Okay. Well, anyway, he seemed to boast about it. It only took them to get within 1 minute to get there. The area was saturated already due to the parade, and he's very proud of that. And then off camera, the reporter says, and the chief also said that the suspect was arrested by Rankin County police at his home in Rankin County.
Right.
Maati,
So how does that doesn't even?
why are you telling me about being there in less than a minute and the guy got away?
Right. How could he get away?
How can a guy get away when you got that whole area clamped down,
Right.
tight, because they had another event at the fairgrounds.
Right.
So it isn't like I don't believe there was free-flowing traffic from the underpass where you go up the back street to get to Hal & Mal's and Martin's.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was cut off.
Thank you, Ariel. And so how'd he get away to start with?
Right.
But the idea that you would try to, what was he trying to do when he's trying to tell people we responded in less than a minute?
Right. And there's no police chase like they love to do when they're chasing black people from Rankin County to Jackson. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. From Flowood to Jackson, from Madison to Jackson, high-speed chases, killing innocent bystanders. But when you have a suspect who has murdered 2 people in cold blood, somehow he manages to get away and end up at home, which is anywhere from 12 to 15 miles away, if not a little bit more.
Right.
And he has to be arrested by Rankin County, not by the Capitol Police. When they had the Crawfish or Crawdad Festival,
just
and
a
there
couple
was
weeks
that
ago.
It was
at the last year at the fairgrounds.
Right. Now, they couldn't say who the shooters were because they were underage, but what did they say? Underage African American males.
Yeah,
We can't say their names, but we're going to do that, and we're going to show you a tape just so you can see
No problem
what
with that.
color they are.
No problem saying that at all.
Yeah. So you can identify the race of who the troublemakers are.
And this guy saying in that video from the jailhouse, saying, you just don't come walk up on me.
Yeah.
Free me.
Yeah.
Free me. Let me out of here. I know I look really good, but you just can't walk up on me. I'm going to bust one in your blank.
Yeah.
2 dead. That's what he said on that.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. And I mean, that sounds like a confession to me, but of course it won't be when they get done with it. And I want to know where the expressions of condolences from the Capitol Police Chief Bo Lucky.
Yeah.
What did he say about the 2 people who were viciously and savagely murdered?
Nothing. He just said that he called them, interveners, and he didn't. There were no condolences. He said it's a difficult situation because it's a domestic situation. He said that twice. It's a domestic situation, and they're unpredictable.
But he didn't call them heroes.
No.
He didn't call the victims heroes.
No.
None of that. So when black people step in the way and stop a crime,
yeah,
the police have nothing to say about
we ain't even going to
them.
mention that they're black.
Right.
We mention that he's white,
Right.
the shooter,
Right.
but we don't mention nothing about the victims.
No.
And it took them well over a day to get the names released. The names didn't
that
come out
took
till
forever.
8:30 last night.
Yeah.
I got back
Day and a
into
half.
town from Taylorsville at about 3:15
Yeah.
and tried to go up Jefferson. I tried to get a little close to Hal and that intersection of Jefferson and whatever the exit is there,
Right.
the Pearl Street exit or whatever,
Right.
just to get a sense of how packed is it,
Yeah.
for the parade. And as soon as I took that right on Jefferson, I was told, no, you got to loop all the way around and go out by Monroe Street, out on High Street, because this is all blocked off. And it was blocked off because of the dead bodies up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I just can't imagine what accolades he would have had for the victims had they been white. I just can't imagine it. We're in a real state here. Mississippi is a state unto itself.
Maati, let me ask you something. I'm sorry, I'm going in a slightly different direction.
All right.
Mississippi definitely is a state unto itself.
Yeah.
Going over there to It was like 1950.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Republic of Mississippi.
But I want to ask you, we watch TV, we watch the news, we got all kinds of black reporters, journalists, media. How come not one of those 4 stations can put that picture up? How does somebody from illicitdeeds.com find this information and put those pictures up, but our own local broadcast stations can't do that? Is that part of the narrative?
Well, you have black reporters, but you don't have black news directors. You don't have black station directors. They all look like Bo Lucky.
Mr. Lewis said the podcast show ended.
The podcast show ended. It's still live.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Live on mine.
Lyndon Johnson said that there's the South, there's the Deep South, and then there's Mississippi.
That's right.
And another thing they said is, what has 4 eyes but cannot see? Mississippi.
Yeah.
And it still holds true.
And it's still burning.
Still burning.
And it's sizzling here. It sizzles here every day. And it's just so sad. Any other thoughts, comments, ideas before we wrap up this show?
I think that we all should gather what resources we have and take them to Rolling Fork. And if you can't get there, call me and I'll figure out where those things can be collected.
Right.
Yeah. I'll call around and see, perhaps a church will take them, and then we can get them to Rolling Fork.
I'm going to speak to Mr. Garrett tomorrow or tonight on my way home. I'm going to speak to him about maybe to see if he wants to announce on our various programs here at We Believe Digital that we can be a staging area here.
Okay.
Our back landing out there is industrial, and we could get a truck back there. People could drop off things. I'm going to speak to him about that. See if he's interested in doing that.
All right.
Interesting show. So much going on. Not good news to report to people, but the truth about what's going on to report to people.
Right. Telling the truth. That's good enough. Doesn't have to be pretty.
We thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to slide out, looks like a couple minutes early. Wishing you and your families well out there. Certainly, once again, extending condolences to all the people so devastated, having lost everything up in the Delta and those 3 towns, especially Rolling Fork, Silver City, and Midnight. And certainly expressing our condolences to the families of Joshua Spann and Auden Simpkins. Heroic people tried to step in and do the right thing. Now they're dead, and the alleged killer, wants to claim self-defense. That's the kind of craziness. Now, does that go on in other areas? Sure it does. But that kind of thing goes on here, and so we're telling you about it. But take the best care you can of yourselves and the people around you, the people you care about. And we look forward to coming back to you next Monday night at 6:30 Central Time. Stay safe out there.